You're just a cog in the machine. That's what he said loudly in a room full of junior execs, like my decade of sacrifice meant nothing. I didn't cry, I didn't argue, I just smiled. Because while he saw me as replaceable, he didn't know one thing. The machine only worked because I kept it oiled, and when I left, I took the oil with me. If you've ever been dismissed by someone who thought you were invisible, stay with me. This isn't a story of revenge, it's one of precision. It happened at 9:13 a.m. on a Tuesday. I remember because I had just taken my first sip of stale conference room coffee when the new COO walked in. He looked around, saw me at the end of the table and smirked. Then he said it. "You're just a cog in the machine." The room went silent like someone had pulled a fire alarm. I sat there, pen in hand, face calm, while those words sliced deeper than anyone realized. Not because they were cruel, but because they confirmed what I'd suspected for months. My access had been slowly limited, my decisions questioned, my name left off project memos I built from scratch. 10 years of service, flawless audits, 3 promotions. And now, I was a cog. The junior execs stared down at their phones. No one said a word, but I didn't flinch. I didn't rage. I folded my notes, looked up at the man who thought he'd humiliated me, and I nodded, like he'd complimented my tie. Because inside something shifted, not pain, not fear, something colder. Resolve, if you've ever been pushed aside by someone who thought you'd never push back. Stick with me. The machine wasn't ready for what I'd do next. That wasn't the first red flag. Weeks before that meeting, I noticed things were shifting. My access to inventory logs suddenly restricted. It told me it was just a system update. Purchase order approvals I used to handle solo now required a second signature. And then there were the late-night whispers, hushed conversations when I entered the break room, emails forgotten on threads I used to lead. I wasn't paranoid. I was methodical. I took notes, kept screenshots, logged every anomaly, and when I found out they'd given a junior analyst, Ethan West, my old credentials 2 weeks before the COO's little speech, that's when the pieces clicked. They weren't just freezing me out, they were replacing me, quietly, strategically, and worst of all, sloppily. Ethan didn't even know how to reconcile supplier invoices with dock schedules. He once approved a titanium shipment without cross-checking the alloy blend spec sheet. That mistake cost the company over $28,000 in reprocessing delays. But they didn't care. They wanted fresh blood, flash, control. So I smiled, nodded, and started planning. Because if they thought cutting me out would be easy, they forgot one thing. I built the damn system they were trying to hijack. It didn't take long to uncover what was really going on. One evening, while reviewing the vendor access logs, out of habit more than duty, I noticed something off. Ethan's ID had accessed our primary supplier contract at 2:47 a.m. Why would a rookie analyst be snooping around a 10-year-old logistics file in the middle of the night? I pulled the file. My name, still listed as the sole liaison, signed, stamped, and notarized. And that's when it hit me. The clause 9.3. Supplier retains right to terminate the agreement if named liaison is removed without written consent. In simpler terms, No me, no shipment. They hadn't just underestimated me. They forgot who made that contract happen. I remembered the phone calls at midnight, the 3-hour customs delay I cleared during Lunar New Year, the baby blanket I mailed to Lynn when her first son was born. This wasn't paperwork. This was trust, and Greg, the COO, he thought trust could be handed off in a Slack message. That night, I emailed Lynn. No anger, no complaint, just facts. "We should talk," I wrote. She replied in 6 minutes, "Your timing is perfect. I was hoping you'd reach out." That's when I knew I wasn't just a cog. I was the key. The next morning, I booked a flight, not to run away, but to step forward. I met Lynn at a quiet cafe in Da Nang. No PowerPoints, no small talk. Just 2 cups of black tea and 1 folder. Inside, the original supplier agreement, all communications, and a new proposal. "Would you be open," I asked, "to continuing our partnership under a different banner?" She didn't hesitate. "Only with you." That was all I needed. I spent the next 72 hours helping a competitor, Helix MFG, prepare their infrastructure to absorb what my old company was about to lose. I mapped their new supply chain, pre-cleared their customs agents, rebuilt routing paths with no single point of failure. Then I gave them the ACE, exclusive material access through my contract. Greg had thought I'd walk away quietly. He didn't expect me to walk straight into a better deal. By the time Ethan realized the shipments were stalled, it was too late. The supplier had already sent the message. Shipments suspended, liaison no longer valid. My phone buzzed, not from my old job, but from Helix's COO. "Ready to talk terms?" I smiled. They'd built a machine on top of me. Now, I was building one of my own. The fallout came quietly. Just like I expected, production stopped. Clients pulled out. Investors panicked. But I didn't need to watch the fire. I'd already walked away with the matches. At Helix MFG, we launched our new product line on time. No shortages, no delays, just clean execution the way I'd always done it. A few months later, I got a letter from the same company that once called me just a cog. They were filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I didn't laugh. I didn't toast. I just nodded, like I did that morning with the COO, because this wasn't revenge anymore. It was closure. I'd built something better. Lynn and I still talk weekly. Our new supply chain model is now taught at 2 business schools. Sometimes I walk by the old building. The lights are off, the parking lot empty, and in my head I hear his voice. "You're just a cog." Only now I smile, because he never realized I was the one who oiled the whole machine. And when I left, I took the oil with me. Some people chase revenge like it's a fire. But I've learned it's colder than that. It's a decision, a quiet one, to walk away with everything they thought you didn't have. If you've ever been called just a cog or made to feel replaceable, know this. Machines don't run without oil. And sometimes the quietest exits leave the loudest echoes. Thanks for listening. If this story reminded you of something you've lived through, drop a comment. I read every one. And if you're still in the storm, remember, sometimes the most powerful move is simply knowing when to leave.